Hi, Emmy. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's great to speak to you. I've been a fan of your work for years, and
Thank you.
it's great to see you in this. Angeline is so unlike anything you've done before.
Yeah.
So, what is it that drew you to the project?
Well, I first saw Angeline's billboard when I was 13, and I was just immediately captivated by it. I think I probably had a similar experience with it to everyone in Los Angeles. I was just so captivated by it, and then I thought, who is that woman? So I started asking people after I started seeing more and more billboards around LA, who is Angelyne? And everyone would light up and then tell a completely different story. And I was so fascinated by these contradicting kind of rumors and narratives out there about her that all went to kind of like create this, I don't know, kaleidoscopic idea of this mythological unicorn that is Angelyne. So at a certain point, because I love a challenge, I kind of raised my hand and said, I think there's a story here. I'd really like to tell this story in a very unconventional way. And I guess through a little bit of Angelyne magic, people started saying yes.
That's great. And now that you've played her, how has your understanding of Angeline changed from that first time you saw her as a 13-year-old on the billboard?
Well, I got the chance to meet with her and sit with her for many hours at the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. And, the one piece of advice that she gave me about playing her was think of me as a mirror. Whatever you see in me, that's the story that you should tell. And in her, I see um, a woman who is fierce and beautiful and powerful and empowered in her body and knows that everyone will underestimate her based on how she looks and uses it to her advantage. I think she spreads pink positivity and light everywhere that she goes in her pink Corvette. And I think she's done the impossible, which is maintain interest and the mystique for decades. Um, and just be a lot of fun. So I hope that we kind of can honor her spirit with this show.
I think you do. Excuse me. The series takes a lot of bold and sometimes bizarre big swings. What are some of the creative choices that you're most excited for people to see?
Well, I think, Angeline is an incredibly unconventional woman, and I think we wanted to take that approach to really capture her essence. So there is hyper realism, recreated archive footage where we've literally not recast the real Wally George, but used the real Wally George and then, recreated that interview completely, but just my side of it. So I had to learn it absolutely accurately and recreate those moments of absolutely known reality. And then there are a lot of more fantastical elements. So descending from a pink moon, magical cars, levitating and out of body experiences, and all of those things living alongside each other, all the different narratives feel equally authentic in terms of the kind of myth that is Angelyne. So I think that's what's most interesting to me about it.
And you made a huge physical transformation through hair, makeup, costumes, prosthetics. How did that change your performance, or how did that enhance it? And what was your reaction the first time you looked in the mirror and you saw, the new you, the Angeline version of you?
It's it's like complete escapism and fantasy. I felt incredibly empowered and liberated to play my version of the icon that is Angelyne. For me, I think the most fun part was mastering the voice. For me, I was started as a singer, so for me, I always start from a vocal place, understanding people through cadences, rhythms, pitches, accent. And for me, I think Angelyne really made her outside reflect how she authentically felt on the inside. And I think that's where I kind of found my way in.
And when you take on a bigger than life personality like this, how do you prevent yourself from losing the human element through the portrayal?
I didn't think a lot about that because I think every moment is grounded and even if it's in fantasy, that there is humanity in everything. We are all people, right? Even an icon is a human being. So for me, in every version of Angeline that we see in the show, I was aiming for emotional impressionism, not necessarily recreating another person, and I was aiming for emotional truth.
Besides the, with the makeup chair and all the time there, what was some of the biggest challenges for you?
I think everything. Bringing that, it was my first time kind of raising my hand from the beginning and saying I'd like to make a show about this, and it was incredibly humbling to be part of every aspect of it, to make sure that there were women in our writers' room, learning alongside them, learning from them. Allison Miller, our incredible showrunner, Lucy Cherniak, our incredible director, just getting to be around badass women all day, and then having, the blessing from Angelyne herself to play this role, and getting to re-record all of her songs. I was definitely maybe most nervous re-recording all of her songs because her voice is so special and so unique, and that's a pretty hard thing to fake.
Did you go through like a voice trainer to?
Yeah, I worked with a number of different coaches, from a movement coach. I always work with an acting coach. I'm a firm believer in teachers. I think the smartest people know what they don't know and ask for help. And for me, I like a stable of people to support me in every aspect of it. I like people to kind of give ideas and bounce things off of and talk things through. I'm not proud, and I like all of that. And yeah, I worked with a vocal coach to help me find like the oohs and the different shadow squeaks and shadow tones of her voice, which are not things that I even knew that I had. And now I hear my 10-month-old daughter doing those oohs and those squeaks, and I wonder how that happened.
That's great. Now that you spent some time in the 80s, is there one thing that you would like to bring back to from that decade to modern times?
Hair, can you tell? I really like 80s hair, and 80s music is so good.
Yeah, it's got a great feel to it. The whole 80s feel, the vibe is spot
I
on.
also think there was a time just before the internet when you could define your own identity, when you could detach from things in a way and define yourself. And I think now everyone knows so much about everyone and everything, and I know with fame comes a lot of trade-offs, but I think I do miss a little bit of not only 80s but like old Hollywood.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm going to wrap with a real quick question. Can you give me 3 words to describe Angelyne, the series?
Wild, intoxicating, influencing.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time. I'm really enjoying it, and congrats on it.
Thanks.
Have a great day.